As we get closer to the official start of winter, we notice the daylight is shorter and the nights are longer. For a lot of people, this transition gets people into the winter blues. But have no fear. Mindfulness expert Dr. Greg Hammer is here to help us thrive this winter. What is it about winter that makes us feel a little more depressed, have a little anxiety, a little burnout? What is that?
First of all, great to be with you, Michelle. And that's an excellent question. I think there are several contributors. One is that, many of us are very sensitive to light. And I know that I am. I really appreciate the brightness and brilliance of the California light and colors compared to where I grew up in the Midwest outside of Chicago. And it just sort of lifts my spirit. So I think that's one thing. Many of us at this time of year are going to work in the dark and coming home in the dark. And that's definitely a little bit depressing and contributes to the winter blues. So I also think that we need to consider the fundamentals of our physical and mental wellness. For our physical wellness, our sleep, exercise habits, and nutrition are so key, and they are very interrelated. And when we get a little bit sad, many times they get off the rails, and this becomes kind of a self-propagating cycle.
What is the first thing that you might recommend for individuals who struggle with seasonal depression?
Well, let me just say, first of all, that I would distinguish what we call the winter blues from seasonal affective disorder. The latter is really a more serious form of sadness that is characterized by the markers of clinical depression. And I think I would encourage people to get counseling if that's the case. I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist. So as far as the winter blues, though, again, as I said, I think that our sleep, exercise, and nutrition get a bit off the rails. And my recommendation to everyone, whenever they're feeling a little bit sad or out of sorts, is to really focus on the basics. So sleep hygiene, we generally know what to do. Don't drink coffee in the afternoon if you're sensitive to caffeine. Have your room cool and dark if you can. Don't use screens an hour or two before you try to go to sleep, etc. Exercise is key, and especially in the winter, get out and go for a walk during the daylight, if at all possible. Take a break from work, whatever you're doing, and get outside, get some light and also some exercise. And then as far as nutrition, when we get tired, we tend to pick up sugary foods that give us a temporary boost. But then we crash, we're too fatigued to exercise, so our exercise regimen goes out the window. And when we don't exercise and eat well, we don't sleep as well. So again, the cycle of fatigue, sleeplessness, exercise, nutrition are also interrelated, and they get off the rails. So let's refocus on those basic elements and get things back on track.
So how can taking just 3 minutes of your day help improve negative thoughts and rewire your brain?
Great question. Well, the GAIN practice, which I embrace myself and I teach, is simply a 3-minute practice whereby we open the blinds, we do our morning hygiene, then we find a comfortable place to sit. We focus for 15 or 20 seconds on slowing our breathing down, deepening our breath into our belly. This activates our parasympathetic nervous system, And then we just go through a guided contemplation of that for which we're grateful. Gratitude is the G in GAIN. Acceptance, the acknowledgement that the world doesn't always comport to our wants and needs, and things can be uncomfortable or even painful. And we sit with this, we bring it into our heart. Then we transition to intention. We focus on our present experience because our brains are wired to be negative and very distracted. And we have a hard time being present, which is where happiness resides. So during the I in GAIN, that 30 or 40 seconds of contemplation, we sort of reinforce our purposefulness to be more present and positive. And then the N is non-judgment. As you know, we're very judgmental. We render things good or bad, and we're particularly harsh judging ourselves. So here we focus on some tools for dropping the judgment, maybe a NASA image of the Earth apparently floating in space, one of these beautiful pictures. And we remind ourselves that the Earth is just a planet, neither good nor bad. Things don't have to be good or bad. And we focus on ourselves and sort of focus on that I am just a person, I'm just a human being that I am, I'm neither good nor bad. And then we refocus on the breath and open our eyes, and we're ready to go out in the world. And that just took 3 or 4 minutes.
Thanks, Dr. Hammer, for this great advice as we enter the winter months. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michelle. Great being with you.